Hattie and I am back with another video. So today I thought we could do a Let's Build series, which is going to be a bit of a short one, but I'm just testing it out at the moment because if this goes well, then I might try other Let's Build series, maybe with a really big project. But I thought because so many of you are asking about my landscaping and how I do it and what cheats I use for it and stuff, I thought I would do a Let's Build a park. So this is going to be the first part. I don't know if I'm even going to finish it in one part. I'm just not sure what's going to happen. But anyway, so I chose the 30 by 20 in Windenburg, which is the park area which was already there. But I didn't really like it. I felt like it could use a lot more things and I could use maybe the romantic stuff pack, which I recently got, so I thought that would be a really nice idea. So to start off with, I would use my cheats. So I use the BB Move Objects cheat, which I access by putting in Control, Shift and C, and then the little bar comes up, and then I type in BB Move Objects, which is the cheat which I will need for the building of the landscaping. So I don't really use any other cheats apart from that, but I'll show you what I do when it comes to it. So to begin with, I would get out the terrain tools. Are they the terrain tools? I don't know what they are, to be quite honest, but I use them all the time. And what I do is I would put in a little path here. That looks terrible. That looks really bad. What about this one? This looks okay. So maybe all the way through. I don't want it to look too strange though here. And then I would start putting in circular bits, so seating areas really. And this is pretty much what I do in my gardens as well. I'm sometimes really careful with this, and in case you want to go really neatly around with this, then you could make it really hard, you can make it really soft, and that would be the way that I would do it, to be quite honest. Sorry I'm a little bit quiet today. I am not used to multitasking. Multitasking is a very strange thing for me to do, so I guess that is something that I am going to practice with. I've never multitasked in my life before, so it's a little bit strange to start multitasking now. I don't know, maybe I'd make some of these circles around. These look really nice when the plants are around them. And I think that it's going to look really nice this park. So maybe this to begin with. And then what I do is I would add some of the soil. Now soil is really important and a lot of people don't add it, which I completely understand as well, like if you don't want to add it. But I always add soil. The main reason is I feel like it makes it look a lot more natural and it just flows, like it just does. I mean, plants don't grow out of nowhere. I mean, I'm not going to be giving anybody a lecture on that, but I just think that soil and that kind of stuff looks so nice underneath where the plants will be. And it also gives you a really good guidance of wherever they're going to go. This is looking terrible. This is looking really bad, but I'm going to try anyway. So what I do usually is I go a little bit crazy with this, but it's okay, because we do have a delete tool if it doesn't go well, and I think that a lot of people don't actually know about the delete tool. I mean, me being one of those people, I didn't know about the delete tool maybe about, I'm gonna guess, probably about like 6 months into me playing. I had no idea that it existed, and then when I found out it existed, I was like, that is so cool. I don't know I've got the grids on either. I always take the grids off, and you can take the grids off by pressing G if you want to do that. It's a really easy way to make sure that you know what you're looking at and you can find the different things. So this is looking okay now actually. I mean, it probably doesn't look nice to anybody else, but me being one of the people that kind of knows what's going to start to happen next, I don't like that soil, so I'm probably going to change it actually. I mean, I just go around like this and I start putting in the soiling. So I had a brief change of the soil colour, mainly because I felt like the other colour was really pink. Now what I'm doing here is I'm changing the grass colour, but I actually like it being the other original grass colour. It looks a lot better than mine did. So what I do is I would just start going a little bit crazy, putting some paths in and stuff. Now it's going to look really ugly when you start to do a park if you're doing it this way, and it's only going to start to look better when you start to put in the landscaping and stuff. And that is just what happens. I mean, my builds without flowers look absolutely awful. They really do. But it doesn't even have to be exact, because you're never even going to see the soil. I mean, if you really wanted to, then you could go around and you can make it more exact. To be honest, mine would be a lot more exact if I wasn't focusing on speaking. But I think that that's pretty good to start with, so I'm quite happy with that park, to be honest. So then what I do is, because I really want to have the new pool in, I'm going to filter out the items for myself, and I am going to go and put in, let's see, romantic garden stuff pack. Yes. So there's that one that I want, but I really want to find the pond tool. I think it's going to be in these. I would imagine that it would be in these ones. Is it not going to be? Really? Because I want the pool tool, and I also, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. And also, with BB Move objects, if you ever want to save something that you want to use maybe a bit later on, I just place it anywhere, to be quite honest. That's just what I do. Okay, so I found the pond. It took me a while to find, so that's why I skipped that bit. So it's actually in the sculpture part, so I want to make sure that it will fit, and it's very small compared to what I thought it was going to be. Oh no, that's not even the right one. Oh no. Well, I think I'll just use this one either way. I think that this one will still look quite nice in this park. I really like that colour, so I'm going to have that there. I'm then going to widen the pathway a little bit because I want to make sure that I have enough room for the Sims to get around this area, because that would be absolutely disastrous if what happened was I put in this beautiful pond area and then they couldn't even get around it. That would just be terrible. But I want this to be a meeting place. I want this to be a really small park where people can go, and it would just look really super romantic. Right, now start with the landscaping. So this is my favorite plant, the low-lying pale yellow flowers. That's the one for me. It can't even change the color of it, but I really like it. So what I do is I place it down, and instead of the normal angles that you could potentially place a plant like this, what I do is I press the Alt key, which allows me to do whatever I want with it. And also, to make sure that I don't have to keep doing this each time and adding it, I press the Alt and the Shift key at the same time. So that is what I do. A lot of people ask me how I do things like that, and that is how I do it. So I start placing this round like this, and it's starting to look a little bit better. It's not fully there yet. In fact, it's not going to be fully there for a little while, but I still like it. I still think that it's going really well, and it's looking pretty positive. I think for a park like this, I think that it's going to be pretty nice to have this kind of stuff around. Then what I do is I would press the Control and the key, which I'm going to show you, which is going to pop up now because I'm not exactly sure what this key is called, but you will see it. It will be popping above the video, and it should be on there because I should remember to do that. But this is where I'm just going to enlarge some things, and that is how I do it. So using those 3 keys, which can be pretty difficult, and it's quite difficult to practice that sometimes because you've got to press them all down at once whilst clicking, whilst moving, and it can get pretty difficult sometimes. It took me a while to get used to myself, so yeah, that's what I do. And I just start placing them around. I mean, for a park, I'm not going to do it in order. I'm just going to do it however I feel like doing it, and I have no idea how it's going to turn out. Might turn out nicely, might not. We shall see, we shall see. Then this one here, the pretty little ditties, I always use that one. Now, I'm not saying by any means use exactly the same plants as me, because you might find some other plants that you like, and of course you want to make your creations a little bit different. And it's nice when people can find their own styles and experiment with different things. That's really what I used to do. I used to just look at other creations and see what I liked, see what I disliked, and then I just made my own style out of what I saw out there, which was really nice. And I'm pretty happy with my landscaping at the moment. I mean, I still practice quite a lot, I do. And I think I'm still getting better with every single build I do. I think that that's important as well. Practice is pretty much everything in The Sims 4. So then I'd start putting some flowers in. We have some really beautiful flowers with the new stuff pack, so I really like it, and I would start adding some things like that. So I'm enlarging them again. This park is going to look pretty crazy in terms of plants. It's going to look really big, and I like it. I'm not sure about the path though at the moment, to be honest. I don't like it, so I'm going to change it. I can get pretty indecisive with this kind of stuff, so bear with me. But I think for Windenburg, maybe that's quite a nice one to have, I think. Reminds me of an area in Basel which I used to go to when I lived in Switzerland. I used to go to the park walking my dog, and also I had to work there. So quite oftenly I would go to the park with children, and they would be there whilst I was just sitting down and looking at the atmosphere, which was nice. So then what I'm doing now is I'm just going around making sure that the areas are accessible. That's always important with a park like this, and I think it's starting to look pretty nice. I quite like it, to be honest. I mean, I know that in slow mode it's going to look really bad when you're seeing it, but I mean, the finished process should look pretty nice, and I think we're going to finish it all at once because it's not actually going to take me that long to do. So then what I'd start doing is I would start adding some other random bits and start enlarging some other flowers. Kind of decided already that I want to go for this orangey theme. I think the orange is really pretty for a park, and I like it. I might mix it with some pink though and make some orange and pink flowers. So I think because I've already decided on that, I'm now going to be changing these colours here. So maybe just orange and pinks. I like those a lot, actually. I don't want anything too bright for this place here, so I think that looks quite nice, to be honest. So then this one down here is another plant which we have now. It's a really beautiful one, and I'm going to start putting some of these round. So this is what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just shaping it round a little bit, and it's going to look quite nice. I think it reminds me a little bit of the Sims 3 Katy Perry expansion pack with all these like crazy fluffy pink plants. I think it looks really good though. So I like that a lot. I think that it's starting to look okay. Pretty unhappy with the peach and the pink though. So I think I'm just going to change it all to pink. I mean, that does happen a lot, and you can change your mind. It's really easy to change things in The Sims 4. So that's what I like about it. So it's looking nice, actually. Going to change these as well. I like the colours peach and pink, but I just don't think that these plants go together. So hope nobody minds. This is going to be a really pink park, and should be pretty good by the time it's finished. So it's not complete. I've still got to put in some other items. So I want to just put in some base game plants as well, because I really like mixing them. I like having it so that I can really get them involved as well, because I never want to forget about them. I mean, the base game plants are some of my favourites, to be completely honest, and I think that they're really important to use. So now what I'm doing is I'm just going around and making these areas bigger, because I'm also thinking about how I can potentially incorporate some beautiful plants into the area around here and maybe sculpt it a little bit more. Now, sometimes these do hang over the plot, and I don't really like when that happens, so sometimes I delete it, sometimes I don't. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start adding some of these big, elegant plants from The Sims 4 Get Together. I really like them, and I think they go really nicely with this park. So I'm adding some base game bushes now, as you can see. This is a pretty big thing for me to do. I like it. I like these. I think that they are really nice bushes as well. I want to add a woohoo bush, mainly because I think they're really fun to use in parks like this, and I think that they look really unassuming, and you wouldn't really know what they were, so that is quite nice as well. So now I want to put in some more of these really big plants. I think that they look absolutely gorgeous. The good thing about pink is you can also mix it with a bit of white if you want to, and I think that that's probably what I'll do here. Mainly because some bits of white are on the pink plants, and that can go really nicely together, and I like how this whole scenario is turning out. So it's looking a lot better than it was in the first place. I mean, that is something that I would always say to kind of be aware of. Never give up on something. I always try to stick things through, even if I'm not 100% happy with them. So on some of my videos, you might even notice that, like, if I change the whole colour of the house and stuff, I'd rather change the whole colour than start again from scratch. So I think that I'm going to do the same with this park. And it works out quite nicely as well, because I've been looking for a park for my new Let's Play. So this is going to come in handy for Valentine's Day. I really want some of the characters for that to come and visit this park. So hopefully that will be going on. Hoping. So what I'm doing now is I'm just piling up these plants. So I'm still using the 3 keys, which I mentioned, and I'm just putting them around to give that kind of effect. So I definitely recommend doing that if you are stuck on how to do it, and if you want to make something similar to that. It's quite nice for a little gateway or something. I mean, if you didn't want a fence there, you could just do this with the plants and it would look a lot nicer. And sometimes I think it looks a lot better like this rather than just putting walkways in. Something else that I do tend to do whilst I'm building is I try new things out. So you'll probably notice that right now. I mean, if you're seeing any techniques that I've never used before, that's really it. I just try my own things and I see what I like and see what works. And then if I'm happy with things, then I might use them again in my other builds. So it's just really practicing. So now I'm going around pretty quickly and I am just putting in these plants. And by the way, if you do have any questions for me that you want me to answer in terms of like how I'm doing things, if I've left anything out, then just leave it in the comments and I will try my best to let you know what it is about and I will give you the answer. So it's looking pretty nice. I want to put in some trees because trees are always important in a park like this. And I want it to look really natural as well. I mean, it's not going to look very natural, especially not in where it is because it's in the center of Windenburg in a place which is pretty empty. So it's never going to look amazing like this, but oh well. Oh well, I think it looks nice. So now I do want to go around this area. I'm not really happy with how this is turning out because I think that it needs to be a bit wider. And sometimes that is something to note as well. I mean, I don't think that you can ever go too over the top with landscaping. I've never done it anyway. I mean, I just kind of see how things go and it works out sometimes. But I think that for areas like this, I mean, you never want it to look too plain and too industrial because sometimes it will end up looking like a city park, which is something that I don't really want for this build. I'd actually prefer it to look like a bit of a messy Tudor park. And I think that for a natural environment for this park, it would actually have looked really, really lovely in a different place. So I'm still not happy with what I have down on the floor. I think it looks very plain for the park. So I'm probably going to change it to this, which isn't that much different to what I already have down. So I'm not going to go overboard and start digging up plants. I'm just going to put it over it. And I think it's quite nice as well because there's some areas which will look a little bit worn out, which I actually want. I want that for this build. I want it to look a little bit worn out in some parts, like it's been there for quite a while. So I like that idea. So now I'm going to start to think about what I'm going to have in the park. So I want a toilet, I think. No, I don't actually. I don't want a toilet. I want some things for children to do, so I'm going to be doing that now. Also want a wishing well, which is really important to me. I want to have a chess table because chess tables are very important as well. So I'm going to put one over here. Maybe actually in front of the wishing well. No, I'm going to put one over there. And then I'm going to go for some chairs. So I'm going to put some chairs down. I will probably use these ones, but they don't really match actually. They don't match at all. Maybe some outdoor chairs like this one. I mean, depending on what you have in your game. I mean, if you have just the base game or you have certain stuff packs, you can leave stuff out if you want to, or you can try and compromise and put other things in, which I would definitely do. I mean, so you'll see sometimes I put some base game plants in like this one. So if I was doing this park with strictly base game stuff, I'd build my own fountain in the middle. I would use base game plants and I could make it pretty interesting like that. Because parks can still look beautiful no matter what you have in it. I mean, even if you don't have all the fancy stuff packs, expansion packs, it will still look really, really nice and you can still improvise and use other things. So I'm going to darken the soil a little bit. I'm going to start thinking about putting some rocks in, which I like the idea of. I want to make these areas a little bit more landscaped, and I think for this park, yeah, I want to do that with it. So I want to have a place which kind of separates this fountain and it can curve and it can look really, really lovely like that. So happy with how this is looking, and I think that this will look pretty special. So I'm going to start putting some of these other plants in now. I'm going to start using some base game trees, which I like just to be in the park. And by the way, this park has absolutely no budget. I think for a park to have no budget, it definitely makes sense because it would probably be funded by the community. So personally, I would go as wild as you want with a park like this. I don't personally feel like you would need to have like a starter park or something, because I don't think there's any need for it. So I just do this. I would just really go a bit crazy with it and do what you want. So now I'm going to start putting in some of the other plants which I used before, like this one, maybe some of these like that. And I really like these now. In fact, they're some of my favourite plants. I really like them. So I think it's quite important to put some white in this park as well, because I think white looks really, really special, and I like how this is turning out, actually. I like it. It's a bit of a different park. I mean, no park is probably ever going to look like this, but reminds me of like a really mystical area, and I am falling in love with it. I like it, actually. I don't usually build parks, so this is a real change for me. I haven't built one of these in a while. In fact, I've never actually shared a park to Sims 4 Gallery before. I don't think, anyway. Maybe I haven't built a park in maybe about 3 months. Maybe, no, more than that. Much more than that. Maybe like 4 or 5 months, and I never shared it to Sims 4 Gallery because it was very, very plain. So I didn't do it. But I think for this area down here, I want to have something there as well. So maybe I'll have a little game for them to play, like here. And what I will do then is I will put some soil down, because when I'm doing things like this, I don't like to have these kind of games on a concrete surface. I think it looks a lot better on something like that. Personally, I mean, you can have it however you want, of course, but that's just what I would do for my park. I think that looks quite nice. I'm just going around and just putting the soil in, making sure that all the plants look like they're coming from somewhere. They're not just there and there's no soil under them. I don't like when that happens. So I try to be neat with it. And if I make some mistakes, then I'll just go back to it and I will correct it. Perfect. So I think that for now, I do actually want to put in, I think what I'm going to do actually, going to move this area and I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to put that over there. I don't know whether I'm going to use this little sink place. I don't know if there's anywhere I can actually use it. I might not use it. I don't know. And then I'm going to look at some decorations and maybe just finish off with some other things that we can put in here. So should be pretty interesting, I'm hoping. I think that it's quite nice to have some of these beautiful items around the park as well. So depends on what you want. You can have anything here. And I quite like the fact that it would be a little archway, or no, archway going out. Oh, I love that idea. I actually love it. So hopefully the Sims can exit through here. I think that would be a really, really beautiful place to have that, and pretty happy with it, to be honest. I think that for here, I would really, really like a romantic setting. So even if, okay, maybe I put the chest here, and maybe here I could put a little bench. So that would look quite nice, and I could put maybe one of those there. And then I think to finish it off, I'm going to put some more plants, of course, because I can't have too many of those. So areas like this, which I've left, I mean, that's just going to happen naturally as I'm focusing on pretty much everything else. If I was building by myself, I probably wouldn't do this, but I didn't want to pre-record it and then talk over it, because I always do that, and kind of wanted to build live for once. Well, live. I say live, this video was made before you're watching it, of course. I might do a stream at some point, I don't know. Depends on what people think about it and if you'd be interested in seeing one of my streams. I'm not sure. But then I'm just going to put some plants around like that, and I really like it. So I think this park looks pretty good. In all, I'm happy with the way that it's turned out, and I want to make some of these look like actual trees just before we finish, so that it looks really, really big. I think these are probably my favourite flowers. It's really strange actually, because on some of my older videos, I always say like about my favourite weed being foxglove, and they look exactly like foxglove. They really, really do. So that's really interesting for me to see. Then I'm going to put a little tree there. I'm going to put a, let's see now, I want to put maybe something here like that. And I think that is the park pretty much finished off, apart from the fact that I want to put some rockery around it. So the trees really do make it, I think. The trees are a definite must for something like this. I think that it looks really, really beautiful. And of course, if you want me to share it to Sims 4 Gallery, then I will. I'll be on holiday by the time that you're watching this, but I think that if you do want it, then just let me know in the comments and I can do something like that. I do want these rock bits to be really, really neat though, which I sometimes do and I sometimes don't do as well. I mean, it just depends how I'm feeling, but I think at the moment, I think for this park, I want it looking a little bit neater, and I don't want anything too messy because the plants are already very messy, and I think it's just gonna look too crazy if I do anything else with it. So usually I would be really, really neat with the rockery, and I would really make a big deal out of it. But for this video, I think because I want to kind of finish it off a little bit quickly, because I want it to be short, not like a full-on stream or anything. So I think that that is how we're going to finish it. So I'm just going to finish it off by putting some more rocks around here. Still using the same keys, still using the Shift key, the Alt key, and also, of course, clicking. So using those. And they really, really do help me out whilst I'm doing bits like this. I'm not going to go around all of it because I don't really think that it's necessary, and I like the way that it is. I mean, if I was feeling like it, I would then go around this area here and maybe do something with this whole water fountain. I'm not sure obviously if it has any interactions yet because I haven't tested it, but I think that it's still nice. I think it's still quite a nice feature to put in, and if you wanted to, then you could just go a bit crazy with it. You could put some more landscaping in, you could really go in between these plants and put some things in here like that, just to make it look a little bit more overgrown and natural. That's what I like to do as well. And I think that's the park pretty much finished off within reason. I think that we're pretty much finished here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So if you enjoyed it, if you wanted to see more of these videos and you like the fact that it's a little bit different, then just let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that it helped, and I'll see you all in my next videos.